So data integrity is huge when we talk about a CMMS, and I'm going to refer back to the ISO standard, right, 14224. Now, that was created in oil and gas, but they came up with this sort of foundational piece that everybody should use as a reference. When you build your hierarchy, you need to understand exactly how far down the hierarchy you should go. And the rule of thumb is the lowest level you'd write a work order to. So if I have a bearing that's a great big pillow block bearing that weighs 150 pounds and it costs, $30,000, I'm going to probably maintain that bearing as part of another system, but it's going to have its own PM. If it's a small bearing and it costs 25 or $30,000 and it doesn't necessarily break the machine down, I'm going to have that as part of another system. Likewise, if I have a pump and a coupling and a motor that drives the pump, if it's small enough, I'll look at that as a system and I'll PM the system and I'll have all the things I need to do in that system under one PM. If it's big and it's a 200 horse motor with a rigid coupling and a rebuildable pump, that's a huge centrifugal pump, I'm going to PM each one of those independently because they all have different failure characteristics and I would do different things to be able to maintain those independently of each other. The other piece of that from a CMMS perspective is your integrity. Do I have proper descriptions? Do I have the proper locations? Am I actually doing my inventories or cycle counts to make sure that I have what I need on hand when I look in the system to say, okay, I need to repair this machine or I'm going to do a PM. Do I have all the filters? Do I have all the bearings? Do I have all the belts? Do I have the things that I need to be able to maintain this piece of equipment? And in the system, when it says it is what it is, if I go to the shelf where it says it's located, is it actually on the shelf? Number one. Number two, do I actually have the amount that it says, the quantities I have available to use on the shelf? Or have people been taking these out of service or taking them out and using them without recording them? So if I have no data integrity for that, then I render my CMMS, my PM, my PDM, and every program that I have, including all the reliability center maintenance work I've done, or even any of the TPM work I've done, is useless because even if I'm being effective with the process, if I don't have the parts to fix it because the system's incorrect, the data's wrong, that creates an issue. The other part this creates an issue for are the purchasers, the buyers, and your supply chain folks that do the sourcing for your parts. Because if you don't have a United Nations or a universal standard description of what things are, they're not going to know what to buy. So data integrity there makes a huge impact. And if you're a larger company and you have categories of things that you buy, that you source for, UNSPSC codes, those types of things are hugely important when strategic sourcing groups are going to go and earn the company some value in how they use economies of scale to purchase. They have to know how to categorize things so they can go and negotiate with suppliers to get the best price, the best service levels of the quality parts that maintenance needs to maintain the equipment. It's critical for the utilization of a CMMS system and value realization of that computer system.